Hello and welcome back. This is Metal Rocker 86, here again with another review. You know something? I haven't reviewed a Led Zeppelin album in a while, so here is their third. I don't need to give Led Zeppelin's backstory again, but if you'd like to hear it, please go watch my review of Led Zeppelin's fourth. On to the album. This is Led Zeppelin's third studio album, and it was released on October 5th of 1970. It ranked as high as first in Canada, the US, and the UK, second in Finland, and third in Germany, Norway, and the Netherlands. It is a 6-time platinum in the US, a 3-time platinum in Australia, and a platinum in France, Italy, and the UK. It consists of 10 songs and altogether is just over 43 minutes long. On lead vocals is Robert Plant. On guitar, pedal steel guitar, banjo, backing vocals for one song, and bass for one song is Jimmy Page. On bass, Hammond organ, Moog synthesizer, mandolin, double bass for one song, and string arrangements for one song is John Paul Jones. And finally, on drums and percussions is John Bonham. Now on to the songs. It starts with my favorite song on the album. It was written by Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. It was also released as a single. It's quite up-tempo. It's called The Immigrant Song. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the very catchy guitar, which will get your head banging, but you can also hear the drums in the background. The song was written after the band had performed in Iceland, the land of the ice and snow, and it's about Vikings conquering England. This was an amazing song to start the album with, and it really gets you pumped. Now the tempo slows down and things get quite a bit softer as we get to Friends, which was also written by Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. Instrumentation. The guitar and string arrangements are the main focus in this one, and they're somewhat soothing. The drums are very quiet and can be heard in the background, and there is a synthesizer to end the song. It was actually inspired by Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young's Carry On, and it sounds very similar. The lyrics were inspired after Jimmy Page got into a big argument with someone, and he wrote a song about what he would do if he didn't have friends. This was a good song on the album. Now the tempo speeds up a little as we get to Celebration Day, which was written by John Paul Jones, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. Instrumentation. The main focus here is on the guitars, and they're quite catchy, but you can also hear the drums in the background. The solo here is also pretty good. Believe it or not, this song was almost left off the album because the start of the tape was wrecked. The synthesizer from Friends was used to mask it. According to Robert Plant, the lyrics describe how he sees New York City, and this was another good song on the album. Now the tempo really slows down and there's a blues feel as we get to Since I've Been Loving You, which was also written by John Paul Jones, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. Instrumentation. This one starts off with a drum intro, and there is a quiet guitar riff which was from a song called New York City Blues by the Yardbirds. After a while, the guitars get much louder and steal the show. I also really like the solo in this one. I interpret the lyrics as being about someone who's losing his mind over someone he is in love with. This was an okay song on the album. Now the tempo speeds up as we get to Out on the Tiles, which was also written by John Paul Jones, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. Instrumentation. The guitars are the main focus in this song with the catchy riff that will get your head banging, but you can also hear the drums in the background. I really like the solo here. I interpret the lyrics as just being about a guy who's going out with his girl, and this was another great song on the album. Now the tempo is moderately fast-paced as we get to Gallows Pole. It's a traditional song, but the lyrics were changed and written by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. It is based on a song called Gallows Pole. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars with some banjo and drums in the background. The lyrics are about a guy who's trying to prolong his death by hanging until his friends and family can save him. Jimmy Page got the idea for this song after hearing another version by Fred Gerlach. There are many different versions of this song. While most of them end with the protagonist being set free, in Led Zeppelin's version, unfortunately, he meets his end. This was another good song on the album. Now the tempo slows down as we get to Tangerine, which was written by Jimmy Page. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the very soothing acoustic guitar, but you can also hear the drums in the background, however they don't come in till the 1-minute mark. Robert Plant would sometimes introduce this song at their live shows by saying, "This song is for our families and friends and people we've been close to. It's a song of love at its most innocent stages." This was another great song on the album. The tempo is still slow as we get to That's the Way. It was written by Jimmy Page and Robert Plant. Instrumentation. The guitars are also very soothing in this one, and there is some mandolin in the background. According to Robert Plant, this song describes how he feels about the environment. This was another good song on the album. Now the tempo speeds up as we get to Bronner Eyre's Stomp, and it was written by John Paul Jones, Jimmy Page, and Robert Plant. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars. They're quite catchy and they give off a country feel, but you can also hear the drums in the background. The solo in this one is also pretty good. The lyrics describe the relationship between Robert Plant and his dog Strider, who he took with him to a cottage in South Wales called Bronner Eyre. This was another good song on the album. Now we get to the final song on the album. It's a traditional song called Hats Off to Roy Harper. The tempo is moderately fast-paced. Instrumentation. The main focus is on the guitars, including a slide guitar. However, it's very distracting. The lyrics describe how the band admires Roy Harper, but it's hard to understand what they're saying. This was not really a good song on the album. So what did I like about this album? For the most part, I enjoyed this one. The songs were mostly well written, and the instrumentation sounded really good for the most part. The only changes I would make are 1. I would have taken Hats Off to Roy Harper off the album as I felt it didn't fit, and 2, I would have put the Immigrant song at the end so it ends on a bang. To conclude this, despite a few minor drawbacks, Led Zeppelin's III is definitely worth listening to, and I'm sure you will enjoy it for the most part. Well, that's the end of this review. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to subscribe and share. Until next time, rock on!